It's been a week since I first found this book, and I can't stop seeing him. This book, it's cursed. No, please, not again.
Hello all, and welcome back to Gravity Falls' The Book of Bill. In the last episode, we discussed exactly how aware Bill Cipher is of our world. Click the card at the top right-hand side of the screen to watch that video. But for this episode, we're going all in. We have yet to really look at many of the codes in this book, but they play a huge role in not only understanding who Bill truly is, but what he's planning for the future, and even the discovery of secret new characters. Bill Cipher has always been a very cryptic being, and this book is no exception. He usually is never one to skimp out on the gory details, displaying literal eyeballs within the book, but when he discusses his past, there are multiple things he leaves out. On this page, he discusses how he massacred his entire universe, but leaves most of the details out, and on this page, there is one of his old henchmen that are crossed out. At the end of this book, during Bill's tantrum, he says, "After everything I did for you? I showed you my childhood. I broke the fourth wall for you, and this is how you repay me?" In this book about Bill showing us all the secrets of the universe and his story, the biggest betrayal that he felt was towards him revealing his childhood? He clearly doesn't want us to know something, but luckily for us, we have everything we need to fully understand not only what he's been trying to hide from us, but why he feels so emotional about it. Firstly, we need to understand his childhood. Oh, Toodles! Can I get my blackboard, please? Thank you very much. In the page titled Early Years, he goes over his childhood and some important lore about his universe. At the very beginning, he says, "Let's get something out of the way. There is no way for your 3D mind to process my 2D homeworld unless you chug expired milk while looking at a kaleidoscope." Okay, so he was born in a 2D world. He then writes, "Everyone loved me immediately, and the mayor dubbed me the best baby of all time, made my birthday a holiday, and gave out free knives. I know you wanted some tragic backstory that humanizes me and makes my sharp edges easier to swallow, but if you came to a triangle looking for depth, you're barking up the wrong treatise. Truth is, I've always been loved and admired by all." Let's write down that he claims to have no tragic backstory, because we're gonna need that for later. Then he states, "I had a gift, a rare mutation. I could see the third dimension." No one else in my stifling pancake of a reality understood what I was talking about when I said there was a direction called up. Okay, so he had the gift of seeing a third dimension. Finally, on the next page, we get to the big one. "I came up with a plan to show everyone what they were missing. And then it cuts off. Words occasionally become visible every now and then, but at the end he reveals, "Until there was no one left but me, covered in blood, alone in the universe." Let's write down that Bill caused the destruction of every being in his universe. But wait, what does he say right after this? That's weird. For some reason, whenever I try to talk about that day, there's a loud buzzing in my ear and then I black out for 30 seconds. This right here is a trauma response. This never happens to Bill at any other point in this book when talking about the destruction that he caused. On this page, there's a section that discusses the highlights of his glory days, where he mentions crashing 2 planets together to make them kiss, discovering a chemical element that makes dimensional authorities explode, throwing Nightmare Realm prom, Death Toll 300, and disassociating, waking up to find I'd conquered another dynasty. He was able to share all of these moments with us completely fine. The only one that might be suspect is the one here where he dissociated, but it's clearly different from the trauma response he experienced on the other page, because here he was able to share what happened with no problem. Something very specific happened here that Bill is unable to recover from, but what and why? We clearly have to remove the no in the no traumatic backstory. Before we can go into exactly what traumatized him, we need to understand the various codes within this book. There are 6 different codes that have been dubbed thusly: Author's Symbols, Bill's Symbols, Theraprism, Rune, Alchemic, and Color. There are a few other small ones, but we will not see them in this video. The author's symbols only show up when Stanford Pines is involved. We can see them inside the book sleeve, which we see Stanford holding in Season 2, Episode 15, and the Lost Journal 3 pages that were written by Stanford. All of these are clearly written by Stanford to add further information to whatever he wrote in English. This says black and white in context to the comparison of our world and the Nightmare Realm. This says Stanley could have made her laugh in reference to him weirding out a waitress. And hopefully F's gloves will hide what Cypher has done to my hands in reference to, well, you can see the image. The author's symbols are usually written by Stanford. Bill's symbols are the same thing, written in places where Bill simply makes another joke about whatever topic he's discussing. When talking about skin, he writes, "Paper is book skin." On his tattoo, his fists say, "Love and pain." And on his pamphlet about his cults, he writes, "Say ba," in reference to his followers being simple-minded sheep to him. Bill's symbols are usually written by Bill. The other ones are a little more difficult to do this with. The Theraprism cipher has been seen in multiple different contexts. At the very back of the book, we can see a whole bunch of inpatients at the Theraprism, each with their name written in this code. Spheremonger, Bill Cipher, the Beast, and of course, Jessica. However, we have seen this code in other contexts outside of the Theraprism. Here, we see that the name of the Lobster Lord of the Deep is written in this code and says Daryl. And in the Lost Journal 3 pages, Bill wants Stanford to get this tattoo, which he claims says Wise One in his native language, but actually says, "If lost, return to Bill." We can't take Bill's words that this is his native language. I mean, we can never take Bill's word ever, but especially because this character's name is also in that language. The Lobster Lord of the Deep is located on Earth, nowhere in relation to Bill's homeworld, so this can't be true. The fact that Bill wants to tattoo the equivalent of a dog ID tag or one half of a matching couple's t-shirt on Stanford makes me think that this may be a universal basic language, similar to how English is an official language of 67 different countries. If you lose something, you want to make sure that whoever finds it can understand the instructions, and in the multiverse, you would most likely go with the language that the most people can read. Let's write down that this language is universal. The next language is Runic. This language is much easier because Bill tells us where this language originated. In Cypherstitions, he says, even the Vikings, who I thought were supposed to be cool, started putting up runes warning everyone to throw Olaf overboard if he draws this shape. Bill provides a picture of each of these runes written out in alphabetical order. There is only one issue. We heard from Bill that this language came from the Vikings, yet somehow it's present on the sides of the multiverse trading card, which is supposed to be what contains our entire multiverse. Now, Bill could easily be lying to us here, but just to play it safe, let's write Vikings with a question mark. Now, these next two languages we will discuss in the following video because these are all we need to solve Bill's origin. When Bill discusses his backstory, he displays an alert from the Time Baby warning about Bill's criminal record. On the side, Bill writes tantrum to make fun of it, but it's what's on the left side that's interesting. It says, lone survivor of the Euclidean Massacre. Now, we already know that Bill was the only one left standing in his universe after destroying it all. So does that mean Bill's species is Euclidean? It has to, right? But no, wait. It says here in his early years that I wasn't just smarter than all those dull trapezoids and rhombuses sucking up my rightful oxygen. I had a gift. This can't just simply be his species, like humans, because there are also rhombuses and trapezoids. He didn't just kill triangles, he killed everybody. So this has to mean something different. What is a Euclidean? To answer this question, we have to turn back to the website thisisnotawebsite.com. We already mentioned this in the last video, but Sue says that you should experience some smoothing tunes, and clicking on this link sends you to a video of the Gravity Falls main theme lo-fi on the Disney Vivo channel. Apparently, in an awesome discovery made by Foxtrot Plays and Solar Frost, if you put some of these through a spectrogram, it displays a message. Free me and remember Euclidia. here it is again, Euclidia. But is this only a single person now? Or are they even the same thing? Ugh, I don't know. But maybe there's something else we can look at. Throughout the book, there are multiple coffee stains on random pages. Lining them up with the alphabet circle that we see on the codes page displays a message. His dimension now deceased, Scalene and Euclid rest in peace. And no, that's not a typo, peace is spelled like that here. Once again, we are seeing the same word we keep seeing, but slightly different. His, in this context, is definitely in reference to Bill, but these two are clearly names. Scalene and Euclid. This makes sense. Euclid is the name of an individual, so Euclidean and Euclidia have to be different. We mentioned before that Euclidean isn't a specific species, but instead it's an umbrella term. Bill is the last surviving Euclidean, but we know there are multiple different species, trapezoids, rhombuses, and of course triangles, so it can't be a specific species. Luckily, we also have the name Euclidia. When paired with the name Euclidean, we can clearly see that Euclidia is the name of a place, specifically his homeworld, and Euclidean isn't a species, but the name of the dwellers of Euclidia. It's the same way that the dwellers of Earth are Earthlings. Euclid is a person, Euclidia is a place, and Euclideans are a people. It's Euclid rest in peace, remember Euclidia, and the Euclidean massacre. Now, if it feels weird that there's a character named Euclid with Euclideans, just remember that this is Alex Hirsch. The name of the giant axolotl is the axolotl, this guy's name is Keyhole, and this guy's name is Hectorgon. This is really fantastic. We finally have an actual explanation for what all these Euclid references are. But now for the real question. Who is Euclid and who is Scalene? Well, for one, we know for sure that Euclid and Scalene are Euclideans. In the coffee stain message, it says, his dimension now deceased, and Scalene and Euclid rest in peace. This is all the same topic. His dimension, Euclidia, has been destroyed, so therefore, rest in peace, Euclid and Scalene. But what's the deal with this pun here? Well, going back to the massacre page, some text is visible. Their screams get louder and louder as so much blood, so much mandibles. It's rest in peace because the people of this world were ripped apart. This also further proves that Scalene and Euclid were Euclideans. But now, again, who are they? To answer this, we have to go back to Bill's story. Blackboard, please. Thank you. We've written down some pretty important things so far, but the most important thing to remember is his trauma response that he had for him destroying his own universe. Hey, speaking of trauma response, have you heard of Overton, the video game that I'm in? And not just me, but all these creators. Wow, look at that. Hey, I know that one. This game is 100% practical effects, so if you're asking if your computer can handle this game, the answer is probably yes. This game has so much lore and so many secrets that you can't help but theorize. And guess what? For you lucky viewers that have stayed to watch this, I'll reveal something to you right now. The ghost jobs aren't like the other species. What does that mean? I guess you'll have to play the game to find out. The link to Overton on Steam is in the description below and in the card at the top right of the screen, so make sure to wishlist it right now. Oh, sorry Blackboard, I left you hanging. Let's get back to the video. So, again, the most important part of Bill's lore is his traumatic experience destroying everyone in his homeworld. On the page with all the silly straws, there are many, many different codes. 3 of them are Caesar ciphers, which just means that all the letters are offset by the same interval. Like this word, HBH, is the word I with all its letters shifted. However, the last straw is very different. This one is timestamps. It's split into seasons and episodes, season 2, episode 15, and the minutes and seconds, 8 minutes and 58 seconds. This would mean that this word is
twisted.
Let's look at all of these messages. The first straw says, eye doctor of a different kind who wants to make his patients blind. Then, twisted out of shape after the kill, the ghosts of his family are haunting him still. The next page has, fussy eater, baby Billy, wouldn't drink unless it's silly. And finally, the doctor says 3 sips a day will make the visions go away. All of these are extremely cryptic, but wait, they all seem to transition into each other. The first one talks about the eye doctor making his patients blind, and the last one references an order from a doctor. But then, hold on, that one also says to take 3 sips a day, and the one before it talks about difficulties drinking. Wait, but this one talks about a silly straw, wouldn't drink unless it's silly, and the last one references something being twisted. They're all telling a story. Eye doctor of a different kind who wants to make his patients blind. The doctor says 3 sips a day will make the visions go away. Fussy eater, baby Billy, wouldn't drink unless it's silly. Twisted out of shape after the kill. The ghosts of his family are haunting him still. The eye doctor wanting to make his patients blind isn't just a reference to the optometrist line previously, but an actual diagnosis here. The patient in question wants to make the visions go away, and to do so would make him blind to those visions. It's a pun. Vision is usually in reference to seeing out of your eyes, but not in this context. Here, he's talking about seeing ghosts, so it's an eye doctor of a different kind. Then we get to learn that the patient is actually Bill Cipher because Billy wouldn't do what the doctor tells him. He won't drink unless it's through a silly straw. He said it himself on this page, he loves silly straws. Then we get to learn exactly what's happening with him. The ghosts of his family are haunting him. But this makes no sense. How can his family be haunting him? Yes, he killed them, but how exactly is he being haunted? Well, this could just mean that he regrets it, but a new character may have given us another possibility. On the page all about skin, at the very bottom, you can see, help, this is not Bill Cipher. My name is Grembly Hemperdick of Zimtrex 5. I'm one of thousands of beings that Bill has devoured over trillions of years, whose souls are now trapped inside of him. The souls, or ghosts, of the people he's devoured are trapped inside of him. This comment could either be symbolic or literal, but either way, it's in reference to his trauma. He wants to be blind to the visions of the family that he murdered, but he can't. And when he does try to reflect on it, he experiences a trauma response. So finally, after all this, let's answer our big question. Who are Euclid and Scalene? Well, scalene is a type of triangle, and using our axolotl, keyhole, and hectorgon examples, we can assume that this is, in fact, a triangle being, just like Bill is. Now, Euclid is the name of an ancient Greek mathematician. Bill has done deals with a lot of people, but none of them were ever mathematicians. He dealt with a shaman, a pharaoh, a wizard, an Atlantean, a goat, the founding fathers, a copywriter, a priest, a sport fella, a sharpshooter, a tinkerer, an animator, musicians, a programmer, and a miniature designer. Oh my god. Calm down, Bill. But now, none of those were ever mathematicians. But then who? Oh, wait. Euclid is known as the father of geometry. Bill, who can't consciously think about his past without experiencing a trauma response, is being haunted by the ghosts of his family. He's constantly reminded of them and wants the visions to go away. No matter how much he wants them gone, they still keep appearing. He keeps remembering that he destroyed everything, including his family. Specifically, Euclid and Scalene. Euclid, the father of geometry, which is the branch of math that specifically goes over shapes, and Scalene, a type of triangle. These are his parents, his mother, Scalene, and his father, Euclid. No matter what Bill does, he can never get over what he did to his parents. While having a traumatic past, we're all still wondering what's he going to do in the future. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time in this video to go over this. But if you want to stay up to date with this series as it progresses, make sure to ring that bell after subscribing to get notified when I upload. Thank you to the Blackboard for all your help. Actually, we'll just give you a name. If you have any name suggestions for the Blackboard, make sure to comment them down below. Make sure to wishlist Overton to stay up to date with everything happening there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe. Comment down below if you have any information that could either prove or disprove this theory. Once again, this is still just a theory, so it can always be disproven later when we learn more information. If you want to talk to my team and I directly, make sure to join our Discord or check out our subreddit. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.